showing his work, the handmade papers, sculptures, Richard's journals, some of his free hanging pieces, his temple hangings. We'll let him take you through the show or talk about his life, maybe some of his trips that he's made that the journals have documented. And then after, if you have some questions you'd like to ask, I'm sure Richard.
Oh yeah, that's a question because I don't have an organized chat here for you because I'm not too accustomed to giving gallery talks or whatever you want to call this, get together. And so I'm kind of, I do everything off the top of my head, and obviously I have a lot of experience in paper making and assembling these things, and you may want to ask me a little bit about it. And if you want to, I'm not going over my life story too much, but if you want to read my life story, you should look at this article that was in the Maine Times. And it's last week's Maine Times, and it's a nice two-page spread that has been about 6 months in the making. Because the initial interview was last June, and then I went out to Guatemala, and so we decided, oh well, they're not going to print it. What? What? Sure. Oh yeah, anybody can take pictures. I have somebody following me around taking pictures anyway. So. And I think it's the making of a video, isn't it? That might be included in. Get everybody's picture in that so they all have their picture in the video. So anyway, I guess that I'm going to kind of go around from piece to piece and tell you a little bit about how it came about and so on. A lot of these pieces are interactive. I guess all art is interactive, isn't it? But this might be a little more so because you can actually participate in what you look at. For example, this cocoon. Now, I'm going to be very honest with all you people. I'm an honest guy anyway. And I was going to have this completely enclosed. And we assembled that here. I like to do things on site as much as possible. And so I brought all the papers down, and I have an apprentice now, and her job was to kind of supervise putting this together. We had 12 people here putting this show together. It took a little time and effort, and so on. They were all friends of mine, and we had a great day. And if anyone would like to get in to the disassembling, I'm open for volunteers for that. Anyway, I'll tell you a little bit about this piece, which I call the cocoon. It kind of revolves around here, and for some reason it wants to open that way. I prefer it opening this way, but you know, you have to play with chance and what happens, so on. I can't control everything, including my paper making. It has a life of its own, and when you pull a sheet of paper, you work with water, right? And the water has a little say as to where the fibers ribs. You're a paper maker, you know that that's true, and so you can only control it up to a certain degree. But this cocoon, I was going to completely enclose it, and then I was going to kind of have a little opening here that you could slide into, and so on. But when you do an installation, sometimes time enters in, and you don't have quite time to do everything. And so I had the basic idea, but I never did get these papers finished. But then when I got it down here and I put it together here, I realized that I didn't really have to, because it's wonderful the way it is, and it kind of serves its purpose. So a little bit of accident occurs in all this work. For example, over here, there's a little piece of paper missing. And then I discovered when some young people have been in here that they love this little doorway.
Yeah.
And so that's another little accident here that happens, and so on. I know when I have been painting, I love to splatter. I picture myself as Jackson Pollock with a little more hair. But he would splatter paint and so on. I love splattering, you know, because something else takes over. Once that paint leaves your brush, you know, it interacts with the air and the material you're putting it on. And so there's a little mysterious element that enters into the work, just like this little panel. I think and maybe it's missing, you know, but it works. So there's a little bit of an accident in all these, because I like to listen to the universe. And I think it's the universe kind of speaking that, oh, I left a little doorway there for young people, or this makes it easy access into the cocoon. And I try to be open to the universe and all these things. And all these things sort of have a spiritual content, besides just being visual and interactive. And that all started when I had some paper a few years ago hanging up in my studio, and somebody came in and said, wow, these are spiritual. And I think that's been kind of a keynote to what I make, like that. Okay, so I talked about this a little bit, as you can see, I'm not too finicky an artist. You know, I'm not too, like, you know, I love this, it's very loose and flowing and so on. And even my papers are, you know, this is not very smooth. I love the way these papers kind of bend a little bit, and wrinkle and so on. And this is mica in here. And, well, let me speak to a little bit about that. Because over here, we have some older collages that I did. Some of them are 30 years old or so. This might be a little retrospective.